Hello, everyone. Welcome to our event, How to Build a Successful AI Agency. Today is a panel event, and I'm joined by 6 amazing panelists. So let's start and kick things off here. I wanted to take a moment to just honestly reflect on the journey of the AI agency growth that we've seen in the community. We ran this event a year ago, and these were the numbers that we had up on the side, and they're already pretty incredible, and we were already really excited to see this type of traction in the space. But today, these numbers have almost 3x, if not 5x. And it really goes to show that it's a growing space. And everyone, I'm sure, who's here today is really hungry to learn more and figure out how to build an AI agency that's built to last. If you are new here, we have a lot of Voiceflow partner programs that help support the growth of your agency. So if you aren't already in the partner program, you can apply here at link.voiceflow/experts apply. And as a part of the program, you can get access to a bunch of different things like rev share, Discord private channel, access to bounties, as well as our creator program. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. And we want to do more of these. I know that education resources in this space are limited, so we're making this a 5-part series. You are currently sitting in part 1, but we will do other deep dives on topics like pricing, how to get leads, how to sell, how to onboard your clients, how to manage those relationships, and how to even take your agency to the next level. So follow us on voiceflow.com/events. Just keep an eye out on the page because we'll be releasing new events there. Okay, and without further ado, I want to pass it over to our panelists here today to give a quick intro, share a bit more about your agency, and get folks to know you. So why don't we go in order here on this slide? I'll pass the mic to Eugene.
Yeah, what's up, guys? So Eugene, a quick story regarding, my agency and myself. I, being, professional hockey player for my whole life, I have an e-commerce background. I sold a few companies, a few got bankrupt, and I actually still own 2 brands. We've been primarily selling on US marketplaces. About 18 months ago, I started the Quimple agency. I was alone trying to get the first client, and it's a whole nother story why I landed into the niche. So fast forward right now, we have a team of 6, 4 developers, 2 guys on the management side. About 8 or 10 months ago, I started to post content very actively. This is how, some of you might know me on YouTube and LinkedIn. Yeah, and week launching my first AI sauce, and this is kind of the thing.
Yeah, I definitely didn't know you made YouTube videos.
Okay, well, now you know, I guess.
Now you know. Sweet. And at the end, I'll obviously include everyone's contact information, but maybe to pass the mic to Connor, if you want to do a quick intro.
Sure. My name is Connor. I run Umbral AI. Some of you may have seen my YouTube videos. I'm specializing right now in crafting unique conversational experiences that are obviously powered through chat backed by LLMs. And specifically right now trying to get more into having the chat actually control the front end a little bit more in web elements and components. So excited to be a part of this as how we interact with the web is going to change. One thing to note, I might be a little bit unique on this panel. My quote unquote agency, it's really just me, right? I'm a freelancer at the end of the day, but an agency at its base is really just a freelancer scaled and, maybe more a little bit efficiency. But obviously I am sitting here on this AI agency panel because sometimes I can string together coherent thoughts. And also I know how to feed myself, right? Which is what all new agencies are trying to accomplish.
Yeah, no, I need to frame that quote there. But yeah, I think that's actually pretty relatable for probably a lot of folks in the audience who are just starting off as solopreneurs and then looking to scale. Cool.
Perfect. Awesome. So Akshat from India, you might have seen me on YouTube. I love to teach content. Like I love to teach, and that's when I started with YouTube, and I saw this, whole agency space is building up. And with Connor here, I'm a single person agency right now and have no plans on hiring anyone ever. Mostly, hopefully AI does most of it, right? And just scale from there. And then again, just like for me, starting an agency was simply like, I love to solve complex problems, right? And AI allows you to do that a lot. So for me, it's like, can I go in and find a new problem that I can solve and technically get paid for it? So yeah.
I love that you also do a lot of educational work and growing the space. Axel?
Yes, so a brief background about me. I have run Agentflow, my agency for about 2 years now. We specialize in web agents for e-commerce, mainly customer support. And I ran it for about a year whilst I was still in high school. And I now run it full-time. And I pretty much run the entire show, but I also outsource work to freelancers to automate that.
And then Mani, and then Coko.
Hey everyone, this is Mani from AI Growth Creators. I know most people here have been in the space for a while now. Maybe I'm one of the earliest ones to start creating content. Started in June 2023, although inconsistent. But when I started my agency, I had this goal. I was inspired by a lot of people, who were building $1 million agencies as a solopreneur. So that's how it started. Although my experience in AI, I've been working on AI projects since 2019. First thing started with for my project dissertation for my master's degree. That's when I started in AI, but have been a cybersecurity consultant for 4 years. But when ChatGPT came out, I was advising people on how to do their prompts and all of that. And I'm not sure if you know who Greg Eisenberg is. When I was really inspired by his ACP funnel, so I joined his program and started creating content, started building the community also. And like I said, my goal was to start $1 million agency, which does almost 80,000 revenue each month. And that was my goal. I even started a series back in August 2023, and it took me over 18 months. I struggled a lot. There were months that I did absolutely, if not zero, $500. I built chatbot for $200, and my December was the highest ever. We hit 80,000, and I finally hit my $1 billion agency goal. And I've been it was made possible with something called Growth Partnership, which I'll briefly talk about in a little bit. First time I got a client, I didn't believe it myself, but someone would pay an AI agency $132,000 contract. But we have 2 clients so far, and the client that one of my one-on-one clients, his name is Jeremy Christosik and RAC Projects. He's an AI agency that started 3 months ago, and he got his own growth partner client, which they're working with 20,000, and after the pilot is done, it's 120,000. So this works, folks. So you need to find a partner.
Yeah. Excited to unpack that in the panel today. I'm sure everyone is curious as well. Sweet. And just to wrap things up, Corentin, if you want to share a quick intro.
Hello, everyone. My name is Corentin, but I know it's almost impossible to pronounce for non-French people, so you can call me Coko. For my background, I am not related to technical or code things. I was a game designer and I study political science. So I begin to interest myself with chatbots only to improve the possibility of immersion in my game. And after a while, I was thinking, oh, maybe it could interest some enterprise, some companies too. And in fact, it does. But at the beginning, it was a bit hard because when I was talking to other enterprise to what is chatbot, what the value of it, it was very complicated because none of them was well educated on it. But thanks to you guys to make videos, now more and more people are aware of it, and so the demands of it increase every day, and the possibility is insane. And so my path is to say you can begin with non-technical skills and to build a very interesting things. So now I am founder of Evolution Agency and CTO of Chatinov, which is building a very interesting agent in markets.
Love that. Yeah. Let us know in the comments if you're also in the boat of being non-technical. There are a lot of folks who started off and still are able to build really successful agencies regardless. Sweet. Okay, cool. Thanks everyone for the intros. I feel like I actually learned a lot about everyone here today too. So thank you. Moving to the panel and the breakdown and the topics that we're going to share, this is everything that we're going to cover. We're going to talk a bit about the industry, running an AI agency 101, everything you want to know, as well as success stories from everyone on the panel. So let's dive straight into it. Let's talk about the AI industry. So a question for everyone on the panel here. What are AI agencies and what kind of opportunity are we sitting on here? Maybe I can pass the mic to Coko first.
Yes, my vision about what is AI agency is more like hybridization between expertise of humans and processing AI and chatbots. So it's not the fact of replacing humans. It's really for me the combination, the hybridization between humans and replace the tasks they don't want to do it, don't want anymore, or that not add value to their work, and to propose them to combine it with AI and chatbot. And yes, the possibility is infinite. So the main goal is to understand what the people wants to do with AI.
Yeah, anyone else want to add to this?
Sure. So the way that I look at this, if you take a look at all of the other like established agencies in the marketplace, like SEO and lead gen and like copywriting and ghostwriting, like those are established things, right? And that's not the case here. AI agencies are implementers, okay? You implement existing tech stacks and tools to create workflows and agents and then help implement them into the businesses. And a lot of times they don't know what the text, what's possible. So you are there as a consultant, but a large majority of the time, they just don't want to spend the time inside of the tools and building. And the amount of conversations that I have had over the past year, which is, Connor, I went into Voiceflow, I started dragging around blocks in the designer, and then I stopped halfway through and I said, what am I doing in here? This is not the best use of my time. Let me go find somebody to implement this for me. So that is what AI agencies are.
Yeah, any add-ons? I know Eugene, you probably might have a perspective on this as well.
No, so in general, yeah, I like to not overcomplicate things. Obviously, AI agencies, these are, the guys that, implement AI into the businesses. I would, would want to expand on the next topic that we have actually regarding like the future of AI agencies in the space. And I, like to take the, I would say, strategic pessimism approach and be on another side of the hype. Obviously, AI is the thing. And it's going to be everywhere, like literally. Yeah. And right now we have, the coordinators of this kind of, we can have, for example, AI joining the meetings, but, in future, they'll be the host, they'll be, controlling the whole panel. They'll be in your lives, they'll be in your doors. So it is the thing. But I think that AI agencies as a whole, and I'm sorry to say that, that's just my opinion, they're going to be, gone as how they are perceived right now. So, for example, my agency, I think, going to be dead in, probably like a year or so. And that's why we are transitioning right now. And I'm trying to find like better ways. Because if you think like, what is the definition of the AI agency? And like, let's go back into, 15 years ago or like 20 years. I'm young, so I cannot like actually, see, and I didn't see how internet became like the thing, but the older folks can like understand it. So right now, if you say I'm the internet agency, what, like, it doesn't really make sense. So, and I think that the AI will become such deeply integrated in our lives that it's not going to be like the thing. So there will be like multiple types of the agencies, and I'm gonna, I would love to also explain it further, but yeah, so this just kind of my take. So you need to find the opportunities that are actually very specific and fixing specific problems, and not just focusing on general things.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great call out. I think like right now we're in sort of the cusp of where it's booming, but at one point it becomes every day and it's not going to be this novel thing. So it's, yeah, definitely being kind of ahead of the curve is important here. Yeah, in terms of like what we're seeing internally too, and what we've seen at Voiceflow is like what we call the AI agency boom. ChatGPT 2023 got released, and all of a sudden we're seeing enterprises that, chatbots that enterprises used to, pay millions and have a team of 40 to build, it just becomes like a commodity, right? Like SMB mid-market companies can really quickly adopt and build these AI agents with like 1 to 2 people. And so that kind of created an opportunity for developers or previous innovators or entrepreneurs to break in, as well as existing digital agencies like Connor mentioned, where you might be a marketing agency or an e-commerce agency, offer AI as like almost like a new SKU. And so that's what we're seeing as a trend. I feel like we're really in a space where there's more and more people flooding in and looking to build these types of projects. All right. So Eugene, you kind of like segued us into this piece here. Yeah. Any predictions from the panel of like where the space is headed? Maybe Monty, if you want to kick things off.
Sure. I believe, agentic AI is going to be huge and voice AI is going to be huge, because previously, with what's going on in United States, Connor, you have a president that is very pro AI, pro crypto, and when US does something, the world follows almost. So as we see more and more stuff like this, and I believe things are only going to get better. But also, I'm not sure most people compare this to the internet boom and social media boom. But if you really look at it, the rate of advancement is like anything we've ever seen before. So if you go back and look at the stats, for web adoption, it took from early 2000 to let's say 50 people, 10% of US adults are using this internet to get it to 75%. It took till 2010. But with AI, if you look at recent articles, the jump from businesses using or adopting AI went from 55% to 75% in just 1 year, 2003 to 24. Sorry, 2023 to 24. So it is huge. The 50 to 75, if it was taking 10 years, it only took 1 year for this. So the window we have is limited. Like Eugene was saying, I think AI agency may not be a thing anymore because everything is AI. What is your specialty? There would be business. OpenAI is coming out with new stuff almost every other month that throws a bunch of business out of water, and they set a new normal. And 3 years from now, world would be completely different. Our agents would be taking care of everything, and we don't need a team of 6 to run this business anymore. One person with a team of AIs can do a lot better than what we as a team of 6 are doing today.
Totally. Right. And yeah, I know Connor, you had some thoughts on this too.
Absolutely. Kim, can you actually pull up the previous slide? Because I think that goes great with my point here.
Oh, this one.
Yes, the boom.
Yeah.
Here. Okay. This is an adoption curve, right? Okay. ChatGPT comes out late 22, early 23. Everybody is writing rap lyrics and poems and like, oh, this is cool. And then as more and more businesses start dipping their toes into the water, okay, let's start building out workflows and agents. What's happening is more and more businesses, they need this. We have a supply and demand delta that is growing, because what are existing devs in enterprise and large organizations, what are they doing? They're doing tasks that are unrelated to AI initiatives. Okay. I've had plenty of conversations from technical organizations that are fully competent and capable of building stuff out themselves say, I don't have bandwidth for them to try to do things and to experiment. So that's when you can utilize agencies and talent to try to do this. Okay. So if we look at like automations and ChatGPT, all businesses have had to put a mirror up to themselves and say, can we use AI? But really, one of the related things that they realized was, we're not using automation in general, not even LLM related, as well as we could. N8N in their 25 roadmap just said they're hiring workflow engineers for their internal team. So a tool that built an automation platform just said, we're not automating ourselves good enough yet. So if they're not doing it, what does that mean for every other organization on the face of the planet? So where is this going? Talent is going to get paid because they're going to be in demand. And I also anticipate that as we move along here, that agencies are either going to get gobbled up and purchased, or individual talent is going to get sniped and brought in-house to organizations. I've gotten 2 full-time job offers in the past 2 months that are good, solid offers. And I do not expect that to change. So if you are coming into this looking at it as a skill and building agentic workflows, I don't think you can go wrong.
100%. Yeah, I love that call. It's like you almost have nothing to lose to start learning. Also, Eugene, I know yourself, like you've mentioned a lot about this idea of like a chief automation officer. Do you have anything else to kind of add to that point Connor shared?
Yeah, so I wasn't like offered the actual like full-time job, which I think could happen potentially in future. But people were and companies were kind of interested in long-term partnerships with me, so I was kind of okay. So instead of since I'm an agency and I'm not gonna go to you full time, so how about we will become your fractional CAO. Yeah, so this is kind of regarding that. I would say that this is one of the opportunities, I think, because a lot of the people, and I like, for example, how Connor is like honestly saying that he is the one main business and he doesn't consider himself as an agency. And it's really good for for you to clarify who you are, as well as for the business to understand like what to expect from you. So and I think this is like where the future is going to go, and there are going to be like multiple types of the players in this space, and one of them I think will be a fractional CAO. Obviously, there's like a lot of the talk maybe is the CTO. Obviously, the CTOs will have the requirement of like knowing AI and agentic workflows, so it's kind of a long could be like a long conversation, but I think this is one of the opportunities.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Great. Just to move forward, would love to talk a little bit more about like when you're selling your AI services to clients, like is there any resistance? What are some main challenges that you have being able to sell these types of services? Want to pass it over to Axel to share a bit more.
All right, perfect. So in my experience with selling these solutions, in the beginning when you don't have any results for other clients, it's hard to sell because you can't really create a guarantee that's tied to an outcome. You can probably predict based on what they're currently doing, a prediction of what could be automated, but you don't have that proven yet. So in the beginning of selling these solutions, I'd recommend just creating a solution free for business, collecting results, and then leveraging that testimonial and saying, for example, in my case, e-commerce, that e-commerce businesses that has this amount of web traffic get these results. You have it, and we can see that you have this, or they tell me what they have, and then you can predict what they may get. So just delivering results, creating a testimonial, and then just putting a lot of pressure on that when speaking to new potential clients is what I recommend.
Yeah, and curious, like in terms of working with like e-commerce clients, was there any like common points of resistance that they had shared, and how did you maybe overcome those points of resistance?
Yeah, so main point of resistance is ROI. I got in the beginning a lot of, because I came out during me starting this agency. I did it whilst I was in high school, and I studied social science, so I didn't have any knowledge in business. So I offered this to two small businesses. They didn't really have any web traffic, but I didn't know what an ICP was, for example. So the most important for assistance is ROI. They didn't think my solutions were worth what I was charging for them, which quite frankly they weren't, because they were too small to be qualified clients. So ROI is the biggest, in my opinion, point of resistance that I've faced. But just predicting based on past experience what a client can get, and then creating a really good offer that ties down to them not really losing anything is a big recommendation.
100%, like value, almost like value-based selling is a great strategy. I've heard. Anyone else from the panel want to chime in on this point here? Yes, actually.
So I just want to add to this that, again, when you look at just the model and that we were discussing all of this, again, I think the easiest value that you can drive is already in in a lot of the process that these companies and businesses are doing, right? Again, as one said, again, there's a lot of things, right? What are you using AI for, right? Look at this, okay? Let's be very honest. It's to replace a lot of human labor that is there, right? Let's again, we can hop around that question as much as we want, but that's the reality. So if you can find a way, okay, what this person is you have 7 different people trying to do this, again, go ahead and do that, help them. Okay, how can you automate either part of workflow or implement that? Saving them money is though one of the best ways to get started, because I think a lot of people are asking how do I get my first client? If you can't make money, then save money for them and then go from there, and then you can scale up as you learn more, you can implement more solutions. That's again the easiest way to go about it. So
100%, figuring out the real goals of your customer is really the best place to start when it comes to this. And Coko, I know you had a point to add as well.
For me, there is several type of customers. There's, for example, the guy who don't know anything but wants everything. So he's not educated. He saw some videos and he wants a mega super chatbot AI with all the features, but is not educated to what is cost in a matter of time, for example. And so there is with the type of client, it's necessary to have time to show him, and I like to do it with steps. Okay, if you want this, I need to this, and this. Do you have this knowledge base? Do you have FAQ? Do you have this type of table I can use? And if so, in this way, he can understand what it implies, all these features. And there is another type of clients. They tried by themselves or they tried other freelances and they are disappointed. For example, they tried a very basic chat-based solution with 20 euros by month, but it doesn't work. So it doesn't work for what they want. So in this type of client, you have to identify, okay, why it doesn't work, this solution with you, and okay, how we can bypass the problem and find another solution. So with Voiceflow, and in this way, it's very interesting because is disappointed. So he just need proof. So for this type of clients, it's show don't tell. I show him existing chatbot in this fields, and so he know okay, it existed, it works. So it's a good way to convince him.
Yeah, I think a really key theme you point out here is setting expectations. I think everyone hears AI and they think everything will be automated, it'll be fast, I don't have to do anything, but really making sure you're being clear on defining your scope and making sure that the clients understand what they're going to get delivered as well.
Can I add to this kind of discussion of the core challenges? So I think for most people that are trying here to start an agency, the most important things to keep in mind is to focus on clarity, and this is what most people, don't understand. And this is what I had no idea when I was starting out. That's why I was like sending, thousands of cold emails, hopping, hundreds of demos on sales calls, and was not able, not hundreds, okay, so like probably 70 to 30 sales calls before I actually finalized the final deal. When, for example, back to the Connor statement for, the full-time employee or my, CAO contracts, obviously this is an ideal choice, is when you talk to the company, they say, hey guys, we want to implement AI, we're ready, let's explore, we trust you, so let's go. We have the brands. Okay, you either need to have a brand or you need to have an experience within the field. If you come from somewhere else within the trust, if you have an agency, or you have a past experience in the niche. If you don't, for example, there are like a few questions in the chat. People were saying, hey, I want to start an AI agency, right? So let's start AI agency together. Unfortunately, for like, this is not how it's gonna work, because like you are trying to focus on like the generic thing of the AI agency space, and not trying to be clear on who, why, and what, right? And that's why even I sometimes struggle when I have the clients in front of me, and I'm like gonna publish a live sales recording with one of the clients. I was explaining him for an hour that the solution that we're building on the Voiceflow and connected through through Go High Level to like all the channels, it is not the chatbot that they can build on HubSpot. They were telling me, no, Eugene, what's the difference between HubSpot live chatbot? I was like, what? So this is the challenge. And so you need to be clear on the actual like outcome. And this is what I was trying to do, but even for me, it was hard. So yeah, to have a clear vision on the problem that you're solving and outcome, either monetary or time, is I think what can really help.
Yeah, and it's a good point. Like, there's a challenge of both educating your client or prospect of the solution that you're going to offer them, because sometimes they don't even know what problem that they want to solve, but also being able to show and deliver that solution. So it's like you have to tell them what they want to solve, show them how they can solve it, and also at the same time kind of prove that it's better than a lot of out-of-box solutions out there in the market. So just to move forward a bit here, our next question is around the actual types of use cases and problems that you frequently see. So yeah, wanted to pick everyone's brain on this. Like what we're seeing is like some common client problems that you are solving with your AI services. I'm going to pass the mic over to Mani to start.
Thanks, Kim. So my agency is a bit unique in the sense that I don't really have a niche. So initially, when I started out, I was making content for e-commerce because I had a friend who I had built a chatbot for. So he is in e-commerce. He has a supplement brand, and he gave me a really good testimonial. So I was leveraging that to get more deals. That was back in August 2023. And eventually, once I got it, gotten a bit more proficient in building these chatbots, and I wanted to share the little knowledge I had. So I made a Voiceflow tutorial, and that's when things started changing. I was getting discovery calls almost every week. It is one of my well-performing videos, and I met a client. So the number of clients I had is limited. They are either extremely small and low ticket, maybe 1,000, 1,500. A quick chatbot, the project would only last 3 weeks, and they're happy, I'm happy. So I was dealing with those kinds of clients. But in March 2024 or Feb 2024, I have gotten this client where it changed the game for me. They wanted a full suite of products, which is a voice AI, and they wanted a chatbot, workflow automation. So I started looking at, okay, how can we maximize this? I started reaching out to my old clients. We when I was doing this, a concept was getting some attention called AI growth infrastructures. So I used the same name to sell. Okay, we build you a virtual receptionist. So one of our first client is dentists. So for dentists, we did we built them automatic patient engagement and recall. When we had an interview, we found out that they don't have time to call these patients up, right, to ask them, oh, it's been 3 months, would you like to book an appointment? Because the number of actions they need to take, even if they see an SMS that remind them about the appointment, they still have to sign up, go through all the clicks and all of that. So after that, doing that AI growth infrastructures, I got my first growth partner, which is, I say partnership because there are a lot of people. So this particular person has 30 years of experience in high voltage power industry, but they have no clue about AI. If you, with your AI knowledge, I could never pull off the kind of deals he is doing, because he works with Fortune 250 companies, and his solution starts from $50,000 setup fee and $20,000 monthly, because he is in the business of saving lives. Because his solutions, voice AI and the set of agents we use on the back end to process that conversation, and building a book of knowledge with tools like Voiceflow, where people can refer to high voltage power industry. There is a lot of safety concerns, issues, and all of that, and the average field technicians and the knowledge gap between the managers, the stakeholders, is really huge. So businesses are loving his solution, because the Fortune 250 company that I'm talking about makes hundreds of millions of dollars, and their current process is taking 16 hours, and my client's process gets it done under 40 minutes. So no brainer ideas like this won't be possible just with me, but when I partner with an expert who is, has decades of experience, we can do a lot more.
Right. Yeah, I love that call out. Like finding a partner, and also the problem it sounds like you're solving is really saving time, and how you can slim down a lot of tedious processes that these companies are running into. Akshat, I know you also, I wonder if you have anything else to share in terms of common use cases or clients that you're working with.
Sure. So for me, like again, most of the clients are around the mid-market space, right, which are like doing around 10 to $20 million, right, in revenue. And in that space, most of their use cases are specifically around how do we make their current processes efficient, right? That's where my expertise also lies, in making current efficient processes. Because the point is, for me, one of interesting use cases from UK, like I have a lot of clients from UK, and they're like, actually, we don't want to start hiring more people now. Like, we have 150 people. I don't want to hire any 10 more for the next, right? How do we make sure that we leverage the current ones, right? And also make sure that current processes are automated, and that frees up bandwidth, right? And think about that from an organizational perspective, that frees up bandwidth. So then that person can be then either employed or do something else and everything else, right? So for you to understand from like an AI solution perspective, it's like, how can you make the current process efficient, which frees up their bandwidth, which intensely, and that has been my biggest growth engine. Because people like business communities across the world are small. I think in UK I've been a big benefit. They're more smaller. Like all of them talk like, I have this person who who has automated our processes and done this has reduced me so much time and has freed up my bandwidth, and that flywheel just comes in. As Mani saying, he was able to find, and a lot of you, like for me, it's like, it was like, just fixing on what I can do. And for me, process efficiency is perfect.
Yeah, for sure. And that, it does tie into the last point on like how, you are leading value first for a lot of these clients. Like, what is the end state of the project that you want to achieve? Sweet. I think it's a really good segue to really understand a bit more about kind of the story of your first lead, and like challenges you had getting your first lead, and what are helpful tips and tactics. I think a lot of folks in the chat are curious. So yeah, I wanted to pass it to Connor.
Yeah, definitely. So I released my first video to YouTube November 1 of 24. Okay. I got my first lead and deal closed mid-January, right? So that's maybe 2.5 months, some change. This individual approached me and straight up in an email said, "Hey, I saw one of your YouTube videos and I want to pay you to build something." Like that's like the only 2 sentences that were in the email, which of course is music to my ears, because it's the whole kind of reason for, setting that up and going through that. So ended up building out a relatively straightforward solution that was really a personal project for him. It was near and dear to his heart. It's got a lot of helpful resources for a particular group of individuals. And I've stayed in contact with him, even today as we make, upgrades and version 2 and 3. And that's a common theme that you're going to find with a lot of these, okay, is you might build an MVP or a version 1 of this, but as these businesses get their hands on them and realize what they can do, and you start conversing with them, new ideas are going to, creep in. It's like, hey, now I want it to do this. And you really can't experience that until you have it in front of you. You certainly can talk about it and show some examples, but you actually get business information inside of it and start to realize what it's doing inside of the workflows. It really opens up a lot of things. So I've been spending most of my time trying to be a valuable resource, for
Right.
these businesses in whatever way that they want to, right? I don't try to lock them in and black box things. Like, this is changing, it's growing, like, and
Yeah.
I think being upfront about that is really smart, right? It's like, look, sometimes I'm not going to have the answer, but certainly we'll go try and figure it out, or we can experiment, or maybe try and test something and things of that nature. So I think coming into it with more of an open mind is usually helpful. But on the lead generation thing, if we want to get really reductive here and simple, but I know we're talking for an hour about AI agencies, there are only 2 important things. And it's number 1, build something. Number 2, talk to businesses. Like, those are the only 2 actions that matter. So if you are not doing both of those things all of the time, you are doing something wrong. So figure out what you have to do to get in front of businesses and talk to them, and what you have to do in order to build things, whether that's partner with other people, hire, it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. That's up to you.
Love that. Yeah, I always hear people ask me, it's like, oh, like, how do I start? Like, how do I get my first lead? And what should I build? And then I'm like, maybe I think talking to your customers or talking to the person that you hope to sell to is like the best starting point, because without solving problems, like you really aren't going to get anywhere with this. Love that.
Yeah, so I was about to ask not ask, like, say quickly regarding, the starting as an advice.
Yeah.
You might hear a lot from people in the space, do things for free and, talk like this way, talk to the customers, which is, good advice in theory, but in practice, it like doesn't really work, because I'm not sure, who said it. If, someone smart in the chat can point it out, maybe Warren Buffett or something, whatever. So someone was like approaching him with, I will work for free for you, for like with my whatever. And he's like, you are asking too much, right? So your price is too much. So the idea here is that even though when you're like trying to back people to talk to them, or companies to even give you their problems, you'll find it hard. So I would say the solution here is clarity. Build, like, understand what the problem you're going to solve, and then present it. Say, hey, money, are you, if you have X, we can do Y. Would you be interested to talk? And then once you're in the talk, you can actually present the thing for free or whatever, for the lower cost, and justify it, not because you need clients to so that they do not, so they see the value in you. You can say that this is whatever for you to feel comfortable with us and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's, anyone else here kind of have thoughts on that, like offering kind of free services at first? Yeah, Axel, I know for yourself, like working with e-commerce clients, has that been a technique that worked with getting your first lead? Yeah, curious to hear your thoughts.
For me, for getting my first lead and first client,
Yeah.
we did a free demo for them, but then implementing it to their website, we charged them, but we charged them at I don't remember what discount, but a heavy discount. But when you don't have, I totally agree with Eugene on this. You should charge for your services, but I'd say in the beginning discount them, because they probably don't work as well as they could do after you've developed them. But yeah, I'd say offer maybe a free consultation, or I don't know, free demo but then charge. And if they don't want to pay, then you should just move on to another client or move on to another solution.
Yeah.
That's my recommendation.
I really love this call out with Connor. It's like really reducing the risk that clients feel. Yeah, Connor, anything to add on this point you shared?
Yeah, I mean, the comment right before that was, this is very much a show me industry, right? And you can tack the word AI onto anything and it might seem nice, but these organizations, they've been sitting on some of their tech stacks for decades, and there's a real risk of bringing you in and hiring. And because you like planted a flag and said you're an AI agency, that automatically equates to something. I don't see it, right? You have to back up your words with something, whether that is a presence somewhere online, whether that is just a nice professional looking website, whether it's how you handle it. Like, one of the reasons I started a channel was, if anybody wanted to know who I was, there's a bunch of videos online of me talking. Like, that's me, that's who I am. So I'm not a different person now. So you can kind of get an idea of, do I want to work with this person?
Yeah, and
they
then
stupid
you
things,
know what you're
or
doing
they
too.
sound smart every once in a while. Like, I don't know. And
yeah,
that's just one way that I found that's helpful, is it helps your closing rate, right? Because it's like, okay, Connor, what he has versus other people, I go and look and it's not there. Okay, I'm going to go with the one that makes me feel a little bit better, just because maybe Connor doesn't crush it, but he's also not going to like steal my money and, hand me a pile of crap. So those are things that you got to think about.
I have another advice about it. It's to begin to have your first client is not to think about money, because when you begin, you will spend a lot of time to learn some technical skills. So choose a sector you like and a problem you think you can solve, and you have to think, okay, I will spend maybe a lot of hours to learn how to do it. Look a lot of videos, look Discord on Voiceflow and everything. So you don't want to spend this time on a subject you don't like. So don't think about money. Choose, talk to other businesses and find one you want to work on it. But without thinking about my money by day, it's not. When you begin, I think it's not. It doesn't matter.
100%. It's like building the foundation and the basis, and sort of what Mani was sharing as well, is like finding a true partnership with the client that you're working with.
Yeah.
You really reap those benefits further down the line. Great. And I'm also curious, like we have a few content creators here on the panel. How has that helped with finding your first lead? Maybe I can pass it to Akshat to start.
Well, I'll be honest, right? Again, for me, it was like, if I just go back, like, so I still have like an extremely old Fiverr profile, right? When I started my first lead, right? So it was like, when I was building that for 3 years, right? So it's not easy. Like, I have done $5, $10 gigs, right? 3 years back, right? And that was just like for me, a way to pass my time and XYZ, and I started doing that, right? My first Voiceflow, or an AI lead came through Fiverr, right? Like, again, it was like this one person who was like, I want to build something in radio space, and I have no clue of radios and how radio stations work. And you're like, I want help there. And that was probably the first client, right? But the point is, why am I telling that? Because a lot of you might want results as soon as you open a Fiverr profile or as soon as you post your first video, right? Again, and that's not going to happen, right? Again, it was like, again, and that one client then obviously like gave me that confidence, right? To get started. And just like, on the part of saying that, I've had like, in starting, I've made mistakes. Like, I was working with a French client and they said like, they'll pay me in future, right? And then that payment never came. And that was like, probably, like, again, I never gave them the agent and everything, but the point is I spent like 2 months doing that, right? So you'll make mistakes and you should be completely fine with that, right? Again, making mistakes is part of learning all of this, right? But on addition to that, I'll just say, like, getting a first lead for me after that has just been content. I'm not great at cold emailing. I have never even, like, I've tried it. I tried it for a month. I figured out it's not for me. I'm not an expert on this. For me, after that, it's just been content, right? And even if you see the content wise, it's completely technical content. So I've started like, got some leads when I started. They will be like, I can, like, why can't I just do this myself? I'm like, great, do this, but go ahead and watch my video and subscribe to it. Right? I'm like that selfish, right? I'm like, it is something that you can go watch, because the point is, as Corentin said, you build that brand, and after that, people will come, and then there will be both kind of like, there will be someone like, we can just do that. I'm like, great, go ahead, do it. And 99% of times they come back. They'll be like, no, we can't. It's too technical. And then, again. So, and the point is, because now you are in the corner, so you get to charge what you want. You don't, you're on the front foot now, and you get to play the game the way you want. So again, start with start building it, and then slowly and steadily, get there. So.
Right. Yeah, I appreciate your honesty too. It's like there's some degree of instant gratification that comes with creating content. It's like, as soon as I post, I'm going to get like thousands of leads, but it's really a long game of building a brand and getting people to know you in the space. Yes, Eugene as well. I would love to hear a bit more about your take on this.
Yeah, so it didn't help. I only started to post videos on my channel after I already found some small success with my agency. And obviously, I wish I would start, at least from the day one, and showing the builds, showing, maybe the sales calls. But I actually started because I felt like most of the people that post content on YouTube are, how to say it properly, shit. Okay. And so they are talking about the things that are not like super helpful in terms of the business side of things when it comes to the AI agency. So obviously the technical content is pretty straightforward. You post, you show, done. When it comes to the business side of things, there are a lot of the caveats that you need to consider. And so since I started, to speak to more and more clients and find more and more things, I decided that I will focus on the business side of things of the AA agency. Now, the last thing, I don't want, to make this conversation and like the pitch like 10-minute long. I think that people tend to overestimate how many business owners will watch your content. Okay. In reality, this is just from like random stats, just how I feel it. 90% of people who watch me are not people who will buy your services. And obviously for me, it's different. I talk about business side of things on how to start an agency and how to sell. Okay, so maybe if you're technical, I think the majority will be still the people like you. Okay, so you need to keep that in mind. And that's why, I was trying and still trying to monetize this part of the audience as the agency owner. So you need to keep that in mind, right? And, create the content around that. Even if you're gonna build a real estate solution, voice AI solutions within Australia, and do this type of the niche, there will be people that will watch you, and I think the majority would want to to be in your place. Okay, yeah, just my take.
Yeah, it's a good point. Like the audience of what you're creating content for is quite important. And understanding that is a key.
The other quick point I want to make on content here, and I know we're running up against 12 here, is when you create content with the thought that you want to bring leads in, you have no control over that spigot when it comes in. There will be weeks where you're like, why am I wasting my time with any of this? Because I have nothing booked on the calendar. And then there will be some days where it's like, it's Monday morning and I have 4 discovery calls booked and I did absolutely nothing. And that is like a good feeling because it just keeps kind of the pipeline going. So just keep that in mind as you're going. Like you have a much less control over stats and data. And to Eugene's point, like the majority of people that watch my content are other builders and people in Voiceflow and people trying to build solutions. But even if it is 90%, 10%, that 10%, there are qualified buyers in there that are looking for who is the best person on the planet right now to give me this solution. Where else am I going to go to find that answer? Go look in the phone book and start calling phone numbers? There's nowhere else, right? So
It's a great call out. Yeah, even as Akshat shared, it's like even other agencies, it's like they try it, they can't figure it out, and then they come back to your content and eventually maybe want to partner on a specific project that they're finding. So it's a community, it's a space that you're building on YouTube. So it's really awesome. Okay, cool. And as you called out, we are coming short on time, but wanted to squeeze in a couple of questions that we're getting here. So starting off with this first one from Pavel. For Mani/Eugene, what niches are you guys in and managed to get the biggest success? And there's a bit of background on what he's building. For context, he is trying to pivot into different niches. Mani, do you want to kick this one off?
Yes. When I was building chatbots, it was e-commerce back in end of 2023, early 24. After that, once we started working with Voice AI, the greatest success we found is in healthcare related niche, dentists, chiropractors, niches like that, local service businesses. We had one solar client, and yeah, that should be it. Eugene.
Yeah, sure. So first, as Mani said, he is generalized agency. Same thing with me. Just because of the content, I get different leads from different industries. Police do not go with ecom. I'll give you an example. Recently started to work with 40 mil year ecom brand. Guys, I own 2 brands myself. I was not in dropship. I was in private label. So I am the ecom owner myself. Okay, we don't need you for the most part. Okay, so what we are doing, for example, for this client is the influencer marketing and social media automation through ManyChat and Voiceflow. We partnered up on the back end, but this is very specific use case. Influencer marketing is more relevant for either smaller companies that cannot pay and you can work on the performance basis, or these guys they had 25 people in Slovenia doing manual things, reaching out. So we were kind of automating this part. Social media, same thing. It's more if they have socials, most of the e-com brands do, but they don't care because there's no engagement. But they had 130,000 followers. Yeah, so I would say go backwards and understand who you can reach out to and what problems you can potentially solve. I'm not saying that you need to build something. Okay, you need to understand who then, and then try to find a way to go into it.
Yeah, no, that's a great call out. Just seeing another question here around pricing, which I know we didn't get a chance to go to, but Rufus asked, how do you decide whether to use value-based pricing or reoccurring revenue or flat one-off fees? Coko, I wonder if you have any thoughts on this one.
And support. So, but now, every time I make an audit, I am necessary to add this mensuality pricing, because every time the client will have other ideas to implement, and I prefer to block some days for him, for me or for my team, so we can assure him to will be responding if they want to add other categories, other functionalities, very basic. So now my advice is always to add this, but at the beginning, to say it's a non how to say this, it's a clause, I cannot discuss about this. You will have to pay mensuality for 1 or 6 or 1 year if you want, but in that way I can charge for everything: tools, maintenances, and Voiceflow. Also, it doesn't have to bother about this, and I take all on my charge.
That's a great call out. Next question here for Mani. Assume you have to start from zero and have no technical background in AI experience whatsoever. Where would you recommend starting?
I would start with, how can I leverage existing work, and, what we have on. When I started, I was using Voiceflow templates that you guys give, and my 70% of my work is already done, and I was doing a bit of, so that's when I started. And also deep learning.ai was new back then, even though I have some experience Previously with AI, I don't know much about generative AI, which is prompt engineering is huge and will help you a lot. And learning a bit about cybersecurity, the data practices, all the tools that we use today are compliant, especially the no-code, low-code tools and all that. But branding yourself that you worry about, or educating yourself on strategies like prompt engineering, the basics, will go a long way. And we have some excellent creators in the space. Eugene here is sharing his $40,000, $10,000 bills. Connor here is amazing at breaking down complex ideas. Everyone, so just watch content and whichever field you're interested in, learn more about it.
Yes, 100%. I will throw up everyone's kind of YouTube channels and whatnot and share it after the event too, but check out the resource tab. We have some stuff linked there as well. And great. And last question to maybe wrap things up. I know we're coming up on time, or we're already over time. So thank you everyone for sticking around. Question to all panelists. If AI automation becomes easier and more accessible, where do we see the highest value for AI agencies in the next 2 to 3 years? Is it in technical implementation, strategic consulting, or something entirely different? Yeah, I'll leave this open if anyone has immediate thoughts.
Well, very simply, I think it's going to be a combination of all three. But again, see, for example, everything changes in 3 years, right? Everything, no matter what, right? So if tomorrow AGI comes and none of this implementation is needed, the whole economic social model collapses. Okay, don't even think about an AI agency or business, think about the world in itself, right? But from an AI agency perspective, you should think, okay, what is happening in the next 3 years is going to be, are we going to need more people who kind of implement AI in some format? Again, it could be like prompting. It could be literally prompting. You may never need to build any kind of a workflow or connect things. You just tell, here is what I want, and it goes ahead and builds that, right? But you still need someone to do that, right? Will more people be able to do that? 110% yes. But again, are more people able to code today rather than 10 years back? And has the demand for expert engineers gone down? No, you still need like more than enough engineers in the world. Same applies to every trade and craft. So again, really think of it from a perspective, how do you reinvent yourself every 6 months, 12 months or something, right? And again, I think one of the best things that happens with the community and YouTube and social media is like you can see how things are moving fast and people are implementing. So I will say take a very 6-month kind of an approach, do this for 6 months, again implement, or maybe take shorter bursts if you are a bit more faster learner and just go ahead and do that. But it's going to be a combination of things. Don't ever think that anything that you're doing right now will never be the same, but it will not go away. There is going to be still some level of requirement to that. It's just going to change on how we implement it.
Yep, great call. Anyone else on the panel want to chime in on this last question?
I would love to add, tools doesn't matter, and your technical background doesn't matter. I am sorry. I'm generalizing this, but as an example, okay, there are tools like you can see how fast they evolve. I am, as a promotional note, in a week launching my SaaS. It's gonna be, it's essentially like a suite of automations and agents, the most successful ones that my agency ever built. It's a white label version of Go High Level powered up with Voiceflow, VAPI, and whatever. What I'm saying is that this is the tool. I am telling you that you're getting the tool, and these are, ready to build solutions. You can watch other people trying to, get free templates. Okay, so you can go and work something with that. What I'm saying is that the technical expertise is not a leverage. The leverage is either, your like sales skills, your marketing skills, or your connections and being in the industry. So this is where you need to focus on if you want to find a success. Even though AI might seem like a technical niche, obviously it's cool and it's good to have an experience, but let's be real, you can really right now, there are a lot of the people that are learning the space and cannot build some things. I can go and hire a developer for $500, $600, $700, $800 per month that will be able to perform, obviously not on the A level, but on the B level. I will teach him, and that's it. And you get someone like me who will give you the templates and the solutions. And now, what's the lever? Like, everyone will get it. So, I mean, find the leverage. Find a leverage.
Yes, I love that. And yeah, it really just calls out like everyone to just start, really. Like, don't give it a shot. Like, you don't have to have everything perfectly lined up. You don't have to have developer knowledge, extreme pump knowledge. Just try it. Use our templates, watch everyone's YouTube channels. It's a great way to kind of get started. Cool. Okay, great. So thanks for everyone for that last question here. Wanted to throw this up on slide. This is where you can connect with all the panelists here. And again, this recording will be sent out. I'll also attach it all in the email. Huge round of applause for also everyone who presented today and shared all your insights. So if you're curious to take this offline, off the event, you can reach out there. But thank you everyone for sharing all your insights. Really enjoyed learning from y'all and being able to unpack this space together. Sweet. Lots of claps in the chat. I love this emoji feature. Another call out is this is going to be a 5-part event series. You're going to see some other agencies that you saw today in some of these events, as well as some new agencies. But yeah, keep an eye out on voiceflow.com/events. We are looking to do more educational content in the agency space. Jacqueline and I are working on the agency course, as well as putting together a guide. So stay tuned for that. We will share that all in the Discord and via email. Sweet. And last call out again, you can join our community, check us out on YouTube, and check out developer docs if you're curious to start building on Voiceflow. But yeah, that's a wrap for our first AI agency panel event. Thank you everyone so much for coming out and being so engaged with all the awesome questions.